Hey there, I'm Awetami, the creator of this resource pack. You already know what you're here for, so let's get right to it. The first thing you need to do is close the text file you found this link in, and then go back to File Explorer. Now I want you to go up here to View, Show, then File Name Extension. Make sure it's enabled. This displays the file extensions, which are what signifies the file type. Now go back to your resource pack folder, right-click on the different double slabs resource pack, then click Extract All and extract. We did that so it's easier to modify the contents inside the folder because they were compressed in a zip file before and not a normal folder. Now, delete the zipped folder as you don't need it anymore. If an error pops up like this, it's likely because you're using it in Minecraft. Just disable the resource pack and then try deleting it. Now, open the different double slabs folder without .zip at the end. I want you to open the assets folder and find the modding template folder. It should be at the top. You need to rename this folder based on the codename of the mod you're adding support for. If you're unsure what the mod's codename is, enter a creative world with commands enabled and /give yourself the slab you're trying to add support for. For example, if you did /give @s supplementaries :stone tile slab, the mod's codename is supplementaries. So therefore, we would rename this to supplementaries. Open the folder you just renamed, and then open the block states folder. Rename the modded slab.txt file to whatever the name of the slab was in the /give command, but also replace the .txt with .json. So, in my instance, it would be stone tile slab.json. Now, open the renamed JSON file and change every instance of mod name with the mod's codename and modded slab with the modded slab's codename, or the one you use to give it to yourself in Creative. In my instance, the file would look like this. Note that the _top and __ remain. Now, save and close the JSON file. Leave the block states folder and now navigate to the models folder. Then open the blocks folder inside of it. Do the same thing as the last JSON file. Rename it to your modded block with .json at the end instead of .txt. So, in my instance, it would be double stone tile slab.json. Now, open the JSON file and replace modded block with the full block variation of your slab, not the slab variation, the full block. This is because slab textures are tied to the full block's texture. Slabs don't have their own texture. For example, my file would look like this, and not like this. If your block has only one texture on all of its sides, we're going to be removing the side and end lines because we only need to give it the all texture, not what's on the sides and ends, or top and bottom, of the block. If your block is a column or has two different textures on the sides and ends, we're going to remove the all line, because there is not one single texture that covers all sides of the block. In my instance, I want to make an all slab, so I will be removing the side and end lines. Make sure to remove the entire line. Now, we need to tell the game how we want it to change how the slab appears. We will do this by telling the game to use preset models or parent models that I've created. Each parent or preset does something different. Go figure. To see the list of parents available, back out of the blocks folder, the models folder, your mod's codename, and then click on DDS, models, and then blocks. If your text file only has the all line, go to the all folder. If you have side and end, go to the column folder. To give you a basic rundown of what each parent does, 90 rotates each texture of the block by 90 degrees. 270 does the same, but 270 degrees. Flipped rotates the textures upside down, and mirror mirrors the textures. If you're curious about the other ones, just test them out. To set a parent, go back to the JSON file and change the name of the parent. A very important note is that you can only tell the game to use one parent model because otherwise you are giving the game multiple different directions of how to change the block's model, and it will become confused. In better words, every model in Minecraft lost one of their parents in a tragic car accident, and they absolutely will not allow their remaining parent to get remarried to that deadbeat alcoholic Jeff that they want to settle for. So, because I'm making an all slab, I will remove this column 90 line. Make sure to remove the entire line. Then, I want the textures to be mirrored when it's a double slab, so I will change this to DDS block all mirror. Finally, change the name to your name, save the file, and you're done. To test your changes, go into Minecraft and enable the resource pack. If you already have it enabled, press F3 and T simultaneously to have Minecraft reload the resource pack for you to see if the changes worked. If they didn't, do not hesitate to contact me on Discord at Awedemy. Seriously, please reach out on Discord if you have issues. There is a high chance that I explained something poorly, or an even higher chance the mod you're trying to add support to is formatted poorly, which isn't your fault. You'd be surprised how many mods are formatted messily. If you end up adding full support for a mod to this resource pack, again, contact me on Discord at Awedemy. I'd love to add it to the base resource pack to make other people's lives easier, and I'd, of course, credit you in the process. Okay, you get the deal. Have fun and thank you.